So Tesla's stock just continues to plummet, and MAGA says it's because the radical left is coming after Elon. We're trying to cancel Tesla. We all just hate Elon because he buddied up with Donald Trump. Well, yeah, if you endorse Donald Trump and throw all your money and support behind him, we automatically think that you have a screw loose or you're just trying to grift off gullible people. But we're not coming after Tesla, and we're not coming after Elon Musk because he's suddenly working with Trump. We're doing it because of the company that he keeps, the type of people's voices who he amplifies and lifts up, and also the type of people who he is coming after and whose lives he's trying to destroy. That's why we have a bone to pick with Elon Musk, and we're going to dive into this. I'm going to be reading you an article here from MidasNews.com. Before we do that, I want to tell everybody, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, be sure and do so. If you like this kind of content, it just helps us to get to 1 million and helps our channel out. So get in on these crazy conversations if you want to, but beware, the comment sections can be toxic. So if nothing else, just leave us a blue heart, and that will help to boost us in the algorithm. But let's dive into this article here, and we'll see why Americans are really fed up with Elon Musk and his bullshit. Right here, Elon Musk retweets, "Hitler didn't murder millions of people. Public sector workers did. Musk is using Holocaust to take an apparent swipe at federal workers." Now, just stop before we even dig into this article and think about that. That this guy would retweet something like this and think that it's okay. Now, I've learned that he apparently has deleted this tweet, but he put it out there for the world to see, and I'm not going to let people like this do these kind of things and get away with saying, oh, we were just trolling or we just found it interesting. No, folks, this is straight up evil, and we're going to call it out as such. Right here, MAGA billionaire Elon Musk, the owner of X, formerly Twitter, is facing criticism after amplifying a tweet that downplays the responsibility of historical dictators and mass killings. The post, originally from the account Alice Smith and shared by user Rothman, states this, and here you can see it. This is what he reposted. "Stalin, Mao, and Hitler didn't murder millions of people. Their public sector workers did." Now think about this as he's firing all of these workers. Think about him posting something this disgusting. He's clearly taking a swipe at American workers by posting something this despicable. And of course, you're going to see Charlie Kirk's face in an article like this. But Musk, who has been attacking federal workers as he attempts to fire them through his Trump-endorsed Doge initiative, reshared the post without comment to his nearly 220 million followers. However, the claim is false. Dictators are co-responsible for their brutal crimes carried out by their underlings. While Hitler may not have personally carried out the executions, I feel like I'm watching a Manson documentary. You know, I didn't kill anybody. I mean, that's what I feel like I'm reading as I read this. While Hitler may not have personally carried out executions, he was the architect and ultimate authority behind policies that led to genocide and mass murder. As the leader of Nazi Germany, Hitler directly ordered and oversaw the Holocaust, in which 6 million Jewish people were systematically murdered, along with millions of others, including Poles, Soviet citizens, Romani people, disabled individuals, LGBTQ plus individuals, and political dissidents. Hitler's speeches, writings, and policies explicitly called for their extermination. By engaging with a post that shifts blame away from totalitarian rulers and onto government workers, Musk's retweet could be interpreted as downplaying Hitler's role in the Holocaust in order to bolster his Doge attacks on federal workers. I can't even talk today. I mean, it's hard to read this crap, folks. It really is. It makes my blood boil so hard when I read it that I can't even really end up talking plain. But Musk's tweet also appears to paint federal workers in a horrible light, comparing them to those carrying out the Holocaust. And honestly, I would say at the end of the day, that's probably what he was going for more than anything, was to downplay them and demonize them. But folks, this is one of the reasons why that people like us don't like Elon Musk. It's got nothing to do with him going after corruption or cutting out wasteful spending. We're people who don't like corruption either, okay? And we're people who would love to see wasteful spending cut out. We were people that was standing up against the corruption that Donald Trump was putting out into the world and continues to pump out into the world. And it's got nothing to do with suddenly he's buddied up with Trump. That's not the whole picture here. They love to paint this picture anytime. They love to say, well, Elon Musk used to be a Democrat. Trump used to support Democrats. RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and all these people used to be Democrats, but they saw through the corruption of the Democratic Party, and that's why they suddenly all buddied up with Trump. No, what happened was they saw how easy it is to grift if you align yourself with Trump and with MAGA. It's the easiest grift in the world. And grifters noticed that that's where they could go. People with sketchy and questionable past realized they could go over there and anything they did, all their sins would be forgiven, all of their past transgression would be wiped away if all they would do is just simply buddy up with Donald Trump. So when people uses that talking point to say all these people used to be Democrats, I call bullshit on that. All these people were always grifters, and they saw where the grift was. And grifting off MAGA is the easiest gig you could possibly have. I say that every day. Being a right-wing influencer has to be the easiest grift out there because you never have to come with any facts. You never have to come with any evidence. And it's also very trendy and cool and hip to bash the left. It wouldn't matter what kind of podcast I had. I could have a podcast on here that talked about nothing but the making of Gibson guitars. And I could just sit and talk to you all day long about Gibson guitars. And I could throw a little shade at Trump here and there, but if I would come in on top of it with bashing the left, that would be perfectly okay, but still be acceptable. I could have a podcast on ice cream, and I could sit and bash the left along the way, and that's not something that's going to really get you. You're not going to get in any heat over that. What you're going to get heat over is questioning Donald Trump and his bullshit and calling it out. And if you stand on our side of the aisle, you have to come with facts and receipts and evidence, and that's something that MAGA doesn't have at all. But it's not just the fact that he retweets and shares stuff like this. It's the groups, the hate groups who he has amplified on Twitter. And when he does these things and shares these types of posts, and when he goes out and does his salute, what it is a victory for those people. They see that as we have a voice in Washington now. That's how they're viewing it. And you'll never hear Elon come out and absolutely call them out. He'll just come out and punch down at us and call us hyperbolic and say that we say everything is Nazi. No. I've never sat here and said something was Nazi unless it was clearly a Nazi. And I've never sat and called someone a racist unless they clearly said something racist. So this idea that we're only doing it because we're trying to find something to call a Nazi, no, that's not the case, dude. You are amplifying Nazi pages. You're doing a Nazi salute. You're coming out here now and you're retweeting crap like this and comparing federal workers in the United States of America to people who carried out the Holocaust. And let's stop and think about this for a minute. If people wants to wonder why why Tesla's stock is suddenly plummeting, you got to look at the fact that MAGA ran on this idea that they were going to abolish the deep state. They were going to get in there and tear the deep state down. But what they're actually doing is tearing down American workers, and what they're actually doing is coming after your Social Security, something that you paid into. And Musk calls that an entitlement. So everything that you worked for, you can think whatever you want to about the system, by the way. You can feel however you want to feel about the system, but nonetheless, that's your money, you paid into it. Regardless of what your feelings are on it, that's your money and you paid into it. And that's what he calls entitlements. That's what he calls a Ponzi scheme. And to everybody who says, oh, now we're going to have all this money to help ourselves, don't hold your breath on Elon and Trump helping you. Because anytime that anyone's ever tried to help someone, that gets labeled as socialism. That immediately gets labeled as a handout, and we can't have that. So, folks, that's what we're up against with these people. And I don't hate Elon Musk because of his political parties. That's not got nothing to do with it. It is the fact that he threw all of his money behind Donald Trump to get a spot in our government. We did not elect him to be here. He got a spot in the government, and now he has amplified these types of voices, shares those types of disgusting, despicable tweets, and then he's coming after our money. He's coming after our livelihood under this banter that he's trying to abolish the deep state, when in reality, the only thing that he's actually coming down on is hardworking American people, and now comparing them to the people who carried out the Holocaust. That's why we have a bone to pick with Elon Musk. Got nothing to do with, oh, they just hate Trump, so they hate Musk too. No, I mean, I absolutely do hate Donald Trump. I make no bones about it. Okay, I can't stand the guy. I despise the guy and anybody that helps to prop him up. But Elon has took it all way too far. And it needs to be called out. And we can't normalize and same wash this type of thing. That's not the kind of thing that you let somebody share. And I did hear that he deleted it. But that's not something you let somebody share without coming down on that and calling it out for what it is. You can't sit back and let a guy like that do that, because if you do, what you're doing is you're normalizing it. And what you're doing is telling a generation of kids it's okay to share those kind of things. I promise you, if social media had have existed when my grandfather was alive, and I had have reposted something like that, my grandfather never laid a hand on me. He was a good man. He really was. But I promise you, he would have mopped the floor with my ass if I had have ever shared something like that. And if I had have just done that salute, playing with my friends, he would have came down and I would have heard his voice ringing in my ears for days. So to anybody out there that says, Papa'd roll over in his grave if he saw what you was doing today, he would also roll over in his grave if he realized that you sided with the people who he went and fought against. So stick that one up your ass. I truly don't care. I'm to the point in this world, folks, where I really don't care who I lose as a friend or family. It doesn't matter, because these things are serious to me. I take them very seriously. I'm not saying this for clicks and likes. I'm not saying this to be cool. As a matter of fact, I hate the fact that I am saying it. Going back to something I said just a little bit ago, you know what? There's days where I said to myself, dang, I wished I did just have a guitar channel. I wished all I was doing was sitting here just holding up a Gibson guitar and talking about the specs. But there's issues at hand that's way more important than that to me, and I mean everything I say, and this is the hill I'm willing to die on, and yes, I mean that literally.